Spain has called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. We reject the indiscriminate deaths of Palestinian civilians in Gaza and the West Bank.
We have been clear about Israel's right to self-defense, but has meanwhile underlined that such measures must be within the limits of international law. Based on the enormous human suffering and devastation we are now seeing, the military operations in Gaza have gone too far. Where Norway sees the urgent need for an immediate, durable and sustained humanitarian ceasefire,
the international community must act more strongly for there to be an immediate ceasefire. Nothing can justify Israel's dehumanizing actions. They cannot allege the right to self-defense when they are acting in a territory that does not belong to them, a territory that it has occupied through the force of weapons and bombs. Israel's bombing must cease, and the establishment of a free and sovereign Palestinian state must be brought about.
There have been numerous examples of Israel's deliberate disregard for its obligations under international humanitarian law, in particular the principles of distinction, proportionality, and the obligation to take all feasible precautions to minimize loss of civilian life, injury to civilians, and damage to civilian objects. The absolute disregard for the protection of civilians exhibited by Israel, and even the targeting of civilian structures protected under international humanitarian law, has resulted in the deaths of more than 11,000 people in just over a month. South Africa, along with the rest of the world, condemns this record number of deaths. We also condemn in the strongest terms the targeting of hospitals, schools, apartment buildings, and essential infrastructure through aerial bombardment and ground troops. The continual attack on civilians, humanitarian workers, and the denial of the civilian population of Gaza of water, food, fuel, and electricity is prohibited under international humanitarian law and the Geneva Conventions. South Africa calls on the international community to end its indifference to the gross violations against the Palestinian people in Gaza, and for the UN Security Council to take enforcement action to halt the unfolding genocide. It is for this reason that South Africa, along with partner states, as signatories to the Rome Statute, have referred the government of Israel to the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court for further investigation and potential prosecution. We must use the full extent of international measures available to us to reaffirm that these acts are not only a violation of international law, they are morally wrong.
Israel is ignoring all UN resolutions and all of its obligations as the occupying power under the Fourth Geneva Convention. These are war crimes and crimes against humanity which must stop now. We must see an immediate ceasefire. The United States, which has guaranteed criminal impunity for this genocide, must stop hindering the work of the Security Council in this domain. Every minute of inertia, double standards, or silence will cost more lives of innocents.
We echo the calls to end the pain and suffering the people of Palestine continue to face at the hands of their aggressors that has transpired over generations. We reiterate the call for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. We also take this opportunity to reaffirm our unwavering solidarity with the government and people of Palestine in their legitimate pursuit to attain their inalienable rights, including the right to self-determination. The Maldives remains steadfast in support of a sovereign and independent state of Palestine established on the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital. Mr. President, we strongly condemn, in particular, Israel's harrowing attacks on several critical healthcare infrastructure, which has caused immense loss of innocent lives and placed thousands more civilian lives at risk. These attacks are in blatant violation of the Fourth Geneva Convention.